Good morning, everybody. What's happening? I'm Tommy Scoble, and you're on the lifeboat. Hope you're having a good morning. Shall we do a little roll call? Mara, good to see you. Tommy Bird. When applying the term worst to liars, does it mean that people always believe the lies we told, or the opposite, and more about the frequency? I'm going to go with frequency on this one. Not necessarily like the biggest. We had a friend named Mike growing up that used to tell some whoppers. Like he would come out with stuff where you would just go, how does anybody have the you know what to think someone would believe this story? The temerity. Like for instance, his mother bought him two Ferraris for graduation.
Wrong color.
Wrong colors. Had them returned. Apparently didn't want them in fly yellow. CK, good to see you. Cat Kaplan. Yeah, but we're going to be talking about some big liars here in a moment. Hippie chick, good to see you. Moni, glad that you're here. JJ Bird, Mara, Christina, Charlie Mullins. What's happening, Charlie Murphy? Good to see you. DeAudrey Gore, a Rolling Stone. You know, DeAudrey Gore is in the land of the Quaalude. Oh yeah, they still make them in South America, in South Africa. They are still making ludes. You believe that? They call them mandrax, but it's all it is methaqualone. A Rolling Stone, good to see you, Doc. Hi, Tommy and crew. Sorry I missed the last few lives. Was out of action, pain. So went back and watched the lives this morning. It was heartwarming and true. You know what? I'm really sorry to hear about your back pain, man. Thoughts and prayers. It's an awful thing. I think a lot of people here have experienced back pain. Seems to have an awful lot to do with there's some synergy between back pain and drug addiction. Seems to be some real serious synergy between the two. Diane 314. Good to see you. Glad that you are here. Just me being me. Flick Rocks, good to see you. Rose K, LA Mac, Tommy Siggs, good to see you, Tommy. Glad that you are here, amigo. You know who I am not seeing? I'm not seeing Lisa from Jersey, which means I can squint. I don't have to put on my glasses. Paula Penley, good to see you. CK, Mary Jean McCarthy, Taekwondo for Life. I'm glad that you are here as well. I really am. All right, let's fire this thing up. Hey, it is my friend Sarah from Boston. Lori Hart, midnight show. Didn't miss this one. He left a comment. Said, no, I missed the last live. Sandy Wandy, good to see you. Cat Stewart. Jonathan, glad you're here. Cat Kaplan, snot face. All right, we can start. It's official. Susie Q, we can start the show. Piper, we're waiting on snot face. It is not a show until snot shows up. How odd. Isn't the cat on the atypical Paul? Good to see you. Shannon Smith, Sweet Cola, Nancy Higgins, Amy. There's Kirsten. All right, I better fire this thing up, or I'm going to start getting people angry at me. Lisa Beam, good to see you. I do a rather. Roll call used to be really easy and really fast. Now it's huge, man. Now if we do the entire roll call, we could be here all day. I want to talk to you guys about this whole liar thing. It's really come up, man. It's come up, and it's in the news, so to speak, at least around here. There's an awful lot of talk among creators and friends and such about whether or not I made a good decision, coming out and talking about my stumble. There is a good sized group of people who think that me doing that may have actually been detrimental to the people who are trying to get sober themselves. Not one person. There's actually a contingent of people who seem to believe this. So here, explain a few things to you as nicely as possible. All right. Number one, the biggest group of liars on planet Earth. Make no mistake, politicians suck, right? They are the kings, right, of lies. Second only to drug addicts, right? Second only to drug addicts. A drug addict will lie to you just to lie to you. For real. A drug addict will walk 6 blocks to BS you when they can stand on the street corner and tell you the truth. We become so accustomed to it. You become so accustomed to lying that you literally get addicted. Think I'm lying? Spend 3 decades, right? Getting high every day and then stop getting high. I swear to God, it was harder to stop lying to people than it was anything else. The most difficult thing for me to get over was the lying. I'm not joking. Because people would say stuff like, hey, Rock, what are you doing? You heading to the yard today? And my first thought was, I got to lie to them because that's been me, my life. I've never been able to tell anybody the truth. If you've been a drug addict your entire life, who the hell are you telling the truth to? Right? You can't tell people the truth. You can't. You can't. Mischief, it's a legit question. It is a legit question, right? And I do understand why you're asking it because they really are something. And a lot of them happen to do dope, which makes it, really the ones that are eating the pills really are the frightening patch because, or the ones that are, that have a habit as well. But truth be told, I'm gonna put drug addicts ahead of politicians. And the reason is this: politicians, truthfully, can turn off being a politician for about 6 to 8 hours, right? Or if they get paid, to go on some excursion with their family, they can spend a decent amount of that time just acting like Satan, but not necessarily lying nonstop. Whereas a drug addict has to lie around the clock. "31 days not drinking alcohol, and I'm lying to my family about being sober." What a topsy-turvy world. I remember distinctly. Congratulations, Snot. 31 days is awesome. I so distinctly remember struggling with telling the truth because honest to God, right? I started to do drugs at 13. Okay. So when you hit 46, you have been lying to everybody in any form of authority your entire life. I mean, any form of authority. Parents, right? Got to lie to them. Anybody that I tell the truth to is going to try to stop me from doing my drug of choice, right? And my drug of choice is more important to me than anything, right? Anything. So I'm going to lie my ass off if I have to in order to continue to do drugs. And when I say that, that a real straight dyed in the wool, I'm not talking about a person that got out of control and was addicted to drugs I'm talking about the lifestyle junkies, right? The people that managed to keep it going for decades. The type of lying that has to develop over a period of time is terrifying. It's terrifying. I told this story on the boat many times, but if you're new to it, I'll tell it to you now. I used to set up my lies a month or two in advance, right? A month or two in advance. Let's say I got an ounce of heroin in the house, right? Pedazos. You couldn't buy ounces. I had 25 grams in the house. So if I'm doing 7 grams a day, right, I got nothing to worry about for at least 3 days, right? But I'm going to start setting up the lie for the next one, right? Because I know I'm eventually going to run out. So when you get a call from your family and they say, "Hey, how's everything going?" You go, "Good, man. I've been doing great. What's going on with you?" Right? Just talk about things that have nothing to do with anything and accept. Accept. My car's starting to make a really weird sound. I don't know what it is, and it's the right front. And it's starting to make this. It's almost like a except it's loud and there's kind of a grinding to it. It's kind of freaking me out a little bit. I'm telling that lie, right? So that maybe next week, maybe the week after, I can make a phone call and go, "Do you remember that thing I was telling you about? That sound?" The wheel broke off, literally. She came off the side of the car. I'm effed. There's no getting to work. There's no doing anything. I have no idea what I'm going to do. Insurance isn't going to cover it. Oh God, how bad is it? I don't know. It's got like $3,000. $3,000. And my family would help me, right? My family would help me. Do you know why? Because they believed me. Because they believed everything that I said. I was their boy, right? I believe everything my son says to me. I do. You wanna be that person, right? So I got a chance to sit down and rewrite my life, right? I got to design who the hell I wanted to be. If you really are just a straight running dope fiend, and you can call yourself anything you'd like, right? If what I just said offended you, sorry, but I'm referring to me because I was a dope fiend, right? Straight dope fiend. For real. And nothing else mattered to me. I promise you. That was it. That was it. And I would tell any lie I needed to continue to keep that process going. You understand? Nothing was going to get in that way. So as I started to go in the other direction and I started to get sober, I started to come to the realization that if you say to me, "Hey, Tommy, how you doing? You having a good day?" And I go, "I'm doing all right. I got nothing to complain about. And I'm having a crap day," right? That I promise you, I have started a process that is not going to end up good. Okay? This is not going to end up being a good thing for me, right? So I have had to start becoming a different person. And that different person, right? Gary says, "My sister is addicted to lying. Finally started confronting her about it. She disconnected from me. We haven't talked in 15 plus years. Ignores all my attempts to contact her. Won't answer the door." You know, very often the lying is the symptom, right? And it deep down, I assure you that the problem is not just lying, right? It's horrific, but it's a symbol of something else. And my lying was a symptom of my underlying problem, which was a mental illness that stemmed back to my childhood, literally. And you know what? I'm really good at talking about it now, right? Over a long period of time, I got really good at talking about it now. I am not a sorry, one second here. Morning, Tommy from the coast of Maine. My husband is a pathological liar. I've heard him lie about the stupidest things, and it has nothing to do with drugs or alcohol. I don't understand why. There is a pathology. There is a thing called pathological lying. It's inexplicable to me as well, but I think it comes from people who feel the need to be the center of attention. And um, when they don't think that their life is exciting enough to make them the center of attention, they will begin to create better stories in hopes that they can become the most interesting person in the world who doesn't drink often, but when he does, drinks that Dos Equis, right? I mean, but make no mistake, people. Make no mistake. For me, even when I stopped doing drugs, I had a hard time not lying to people, right? So I'm not doing dope in prison now. I'm clean, right? People, I had hustles in prison to come up with a bunch of money to pay for my drug habit, right? So I was making moonshine, right? I was a loan shark. It's called clucking, but I was a loan shark. I did a lot of things in there as a way to make money, right? To keep yourself going. I ran a poker table, and now I didn't need any of the money, right? Now, the fellas are going to get a little angry if you shut down the poker table. As far as they're concerned, you're mother friggin' Teresa, right? You're giving them hope every day. And during that time, while they're sitting there flinging cards, they're not thinking about the fact that they're in prison, right? They're hoping, right? They're hoping for a chance to maybe win a little money, right? Why is it called clucking? I'm not exactly sure. Instead of pawning, they started. That one's been going on for a while in prison, at least in the feds. You call it clucking. So someone would cluck, like they come in and say, I got a one battery radio. I'm looking to cluck it. They need money to go get high. And I can give you a book of stamps for it. It's like about $10 for a $50 radio. And when they come and bring it back, right, they owe me juice. So they're going to owe me $2, right, for the loan. And sadly, they very rarely come back for anything. I mean, some want to come back and fight you to get the stuff back. That happens. But nobody comes back and pays you, right? Because they're dope fiends, right? That's why they're in your cell. But when you stop doing drugs, right, you still have all these hustles because you just can't stop doing what you're doing. So the fellas that come in and go, "Hey, Rocco, listen, I'm trying to cluck, and I got a brand new pair of Air Jordans, man. These things haven't been worn. Very highly sought after in prison. I'm trying to borrow this much." And instead of saying, "You know what, bro? Not really in the business anymore. I'm out of the drug game. And I don't really want to be, associated with any of this stuff." I said, "Oh, bro, if you had been here 20 minutes ago, man, I literally just loaned somebody everything I got. Like I loaned somebody everything I got. Man, if you were here, why in the hell didn't I just say to the dude, 'Yo, bro, I'm out,' right? I'm not clucking anymore. I'm not doing it. I'm not a loan shark anymore, right? I'm not in the business anymore. I'm not doing that, right?" I continued to make moonshine, despite of the fact that I was really preaching the whole abstinence thing. I was still cranking out moonshine pretty routinely because it was a great payday. But I would lie to fellas within my group about whether or not I was still making it because I was doing this. So if I were here with you guys today and you found out that I got a still in the garage, right, I'm slinging heroin out the back door, you might be a little disappointed in me as a counselor, right? Or as a guy that you're watching, but that's literally what I was doing in there. I'm still making booze. I got one foot in the world and one foot in the other, but I'm lying to everybody, right? I'm lying to everybody. The guys in the group are going, "You're not still making moonshine, right?" No, hell no. No, I'm out of that. I'm out of that. Because there's still a bunch of shine. Who's shining? Right? Who's making the crap? Because there's a bunch of it on the tier. Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, how the right thing would have been to say, "You know what? Yeah, I'm making it." The reason I didn't stop is if I stop, there's about 8 guys that are going to want to stab me because they drink this stuff every day, right? they're so damn addicted to it. Literally, they're going to stroke out if they don't get it. So I'm continuing to make it for those cats. But I didn't say that. I felt the need for whatever reason to lie to them. How do we cleanse our soul of the years of lying? I feel like like a coat. It's a great question, Paula. What a great question. What a great freaking question. How do we cleanse our soul of the years of lying? Now I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna be so unpopular right now. I really am. But I cleanse my soul in a way that I'm not going to shove down anybody's throat here. Okay? I'm not. But I have a belief in a higher power, and it has done wonders for cleansing my soul of the years that I have lied, and a lot of other things. I'm not shoving it down your throat. I promise you. I'm not here to do that ever. You're interested in hearing that? I tell everybody, you reach out to me. I'll be more than happy to tell you what I believe. But I'm not going to shove it down anybody's throat here. And the reason is because I want you to be sober, right? I want you to live a life where you're not addicted to drugs or alcohol. I don't care who you pray to. I still would like you to live a life where you're not a slave to any of the chemicals, right? It's a hump way to live, man. It's a hump way to live. Yeah, Paula, I'm sorry, but truthfully, that literally is how that has happened to me. And the reason is this. Very early on in the game, maybe this will help you, even for those who do not believe. Very early on in the game, somebody in the comment section left a comment that said, there have been some dictators over the years that have just been the scum of the earth. Think about someone like Pol Pot, right? Or Baby Doc Duvalier, right? The Duvalier family. Doc Duvalier and Baby Doc Duvalier. Not people who you go, yeah, those are some nice people, right? So they're dirtbags. I think we could agree, right? That those people are awful. So do we hate everybody in the entire country? Are they the scum of the earth because Pol Pot ran the place? Seriously. Are all of the people walking around Russia right now dirtbags because of who's running their country? Well, that's stupid, isn't it? Honestly, it's stupid. It makes no sense. The leaders of our countries, all of them, a handful of them, right, do not make up the vast majority of what our countries are like. They're idiots, right, who represent or pretend to represent our interests. Yeah? Okay. So I'm not going to hate the Russian people because their leader's a jackass. So why would I hate you, right, for your past when your leader was a jackass? Because your leader was booze, right? Or your leader was heroin, or your leader was blow. But once you allow that drug to sit in the driver's seat, I have a very easy time, no lie, saying to myself, nobody in their right mind robs banks, right? Who does that? I mean, we've all thought about it, right? Everyone's thought at least once, hey, you know what? Yeah, sometimes I've thought about it might be fun just to go in there and tell them you want all the money, right? But who in their right mind does that? How about who in their right mind does that more than once or twice or 3 times? Who gets up every single morning, right? With the knowledge that I got to steal about $2,000 worth of stuff today so that I can sell it for $700 so that I won't get sick. No one in their right mind would do that. No one in their right mind would do that. Yet, I'm going to blame myself as if I were in my right mind, right? As if I were in my right mind. Right? Why would I do that? Why would I beat myself up for something that I really had no control over. Because I'm going to tell you something right now, whether you want to believe this or not. I had the ability to not do the first one. You understand? You understand? Now, I will be really honest with you. I am of the firm belief that you can make yourself feel fantastic, right? And get rid of all of those feelings and that are bogging you down. Now, do I think that cleans your soul? No, I don't. The way that I think you clean your soul, I'm not going to talk about here. All right? Look me up. I'll be happy to tell you how I think you clean your soul. But if I did it here and I ran off one person, right, that needs to hear about sobriety, I'd really rather not do that. And I'll tell you something, right? The worst group of liars on planet Earth, right, are drug addicts. I promise you we are. So when you get sober, your biggest threat may not be heroin or alcohol, right? Because what happens is the actual relapse, the eating a couple of pills and drinking some beers, right? Or snorting a line or sticking a needle in your arm or whatever you do to relapse, right? There's a long process that goes along with that. Yeah. You screw up along the way, right? Boom, 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 boom. Lying to yourself the entire time, right? Lying to yourself the entire time. You don't think I knew when that doctor said, listen, just in case it gets bad, I'm going to write you a prescription for diazepam. You familiar with that? And then I did this one, diazepam. Oh, that's Valium, right? Yeah, no, I've heard of that. Have you taken that before? Yeah, I think I have. Well, I'm bullshitting right then, aren't I? I mean, honestly, am I lying right there? Oh, boy, I'm lying right there, right? Preemptive lie. I don't know if I'm going to do that stuff. I'm telling myself, lying to myself right there. I'm not going to do that. I'm not taking this crap because I need it, but it's going to be great to have around. Do you know why I'm doing this for real? Because if a person who's an alcoholic, who does so much alcohol that they're going to quit cold turkey and it's going to kill them, I'm going to be able to help this person with Valium. That's how I'm going to be able to use this. I'm going to be able to help people with this stuff. I'm Mother Teresa, huh? What a good dude. I got myself convinced of that, right? Because I can lie to myself when I want to. I'm good at it. I really am. I promise you. And I mean, how many times have we said to ourselves, this is not a problem. I can do this once. I've gotten good at this. Now I've read all the books. Now I journal. Now I understand, right? Now I understand. I didn't understand drug addiction when I was doing smack. I didn't. Now I understand it, right? Now I understand it, I think, as well as anyone does. So obviously I can control it now, right? I mean, it sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? But it is the kind of crap that you tell yourself, right? So here's what I've learned. What I've learned is this. When people say things like, hey, I was wondering if maybe you want to cluck these shoes, bro. I'm trying to go buy some K2, man, because that's usually what they're trying to do is buy drugs, like prison crack, because they smoke that stuff like crack nonstop all day. Hey, man, I'm just trying to buy a bunch of, guy can get a real big deal. Guy's got like a business card size piece of this stuff. I'm just trying to cluck some Air Jordans, man. These things are in the box. I don't do that anymore, bro. Out of the business. Oh, come on, man. I know you got stamps. Yeah, I do. But I am out of the business. And the reason is you're killing yourself with that crap. You're not going to get these shoes back. You're not, right? Shoes that you spent an ungodly amount of money on, you're going to get this much cash for. You're going to be high for 45 minutes. And I'm not going to have any part of that crap, right? Go find someone else to clutch and steal your shoes. It'd be real easy for me to do, man, right? I can steal those puppies for about $18, but I'm not going to do that, right? It's a scumbag move, and I'm out of that business. Don't trip. There's scumbags all up and down the road here, right? The whole tier. They're waiting. They're waiting to take your stuff. But it ain't going to be me. And I'm not going to lie to you why anymore, right? Hey, Tommy, we're going out Friday. We're doing this, this, and this. Oh, Friday. I told Johnny I was going to, do this. You know what? No, I'm not going on Friday. Why? Because I'll be really honest with you. I can't stand doing stuff like that. No disrespect to you. I love you. I can't stand crowds. I'm not going in there. I'm just not. And, I've been struggling. I'm doing better today, I promise you. But I've been struggling, right? And I'm trying to work to get through the struggling stuff. I'm working through it, right? And that's an important thing for me. But while I don't need this to put myself in the situations, right? Yeah, Tommy Bird. Here's the deal. Drug addiction also understands us as well. Oh boy, does it. Oh boy, does it. 30 minutes, no sips. I remember those days. I really do. Lisa Triple, good to see you. I didn't really have to lie about drinking. I was alone and isolated. Another addiction is active right now, and I lie about it by omission. I don't know if my roommate knows. It feels awful. Lying by omission is another, it's the same thing. And also something that we're really good at, right? We get really, really good at lies by omission or creative truth, right? Creative truth. I am a stone cold beast at creative truth. I married an officer of the court, right? We're divorced, but this person was a lawyer, right? What does a lawyer tell mom and dad when she marries a bank robber, right? You think that's a conversation that someone wants to have? And she said to me, I can't do this. Honestly, they're going to die when I tell them this. They're not going to, this is going to sound like the dumbest thing in the world. They're just not going to understand this. What do I say? I said, you tell them the truth. Right? Tell them the truth. They won't ask questions if you tell them the truth. She said, how does that work? I said, you tell them. Right now, my husband is doing some work for the United States of America. He's working for one of those agencies, got 3 letters, right? And what he's doing is the kind of work that nobody talks about, especially a wife. Sure as hell isn't telling anybody else, right? I was working for the Department of Justice, the BOP. Those are 3-letter agencies, are they not? And that kind of work, you're not bragging about that. I think she's going and saying, hey, yes, my husband is excelling, mopping hallways at Victorville Prison. No, what she said was the truth. Right? A friggin' lie, but every single word of it was the truth. Right? But see, you get that, right? As a drug addict, we get real good at those lies that aren't lies. I mean, that is a lie. But I sure was doing that. Really? Where is he? How can where does he? No, they move him all over the place. Never know where they're going to put you when you're doing that with the feds. Well, that's the truth. Right? That is the truth. But you start lying as something that literally gets out of control. Rick James. You know about I just want to yell, I'm Rick James. Am I okay with AA Ron? Yeah, why would I not be okay with AA Ron? That's a silly question. No, we're AA Ron and I are great. At the moment I don't think I'm not getting along with anybody. I think for the most part, which is cool. I'm getting along with everyone. It's been the outreach of people uh, who have reached out to say some really nice things. You know, I think it's uncomfortable to when your friend does a video that says I relapse. I mean, that's tough. Addiction has a huge stigma to it, right? We all know this, right? We talk about it every day. Well, when the host relapses, right, we get a really good view of what that stigma looks like, right? I am not expecting people to make videos saying, right, and if you were expecting any of my co-creator friends to make videos to say, hey, we're pulling for you, that's not the kind of thing that people would do, right? They wouldn't. And you know something? I wouldn't want them to. I really wouldn't. But they reached out and said if there's anything we can do. So before anybody thinks, Tommy makes videos for Aaron when they start, completely different. You understand we're comparing apples and oranges. There were a group of people that were lying and throwing stones at a friend of mine. I had to come out and make a statement about it. What I did was come out and talk about what I did. He doesn't need to come out and make a statement about it. He reached out to me personally, right? Which is what a friend does. Yeah, don't create something where there isn't anything. Right? I promise you, I don't have any problems whatsoever with AA Ron. That's that's silly. But there are, you know what? It's not you. It's people that dig that. It's the internet makes stuff like that fun. Unfortunately, I can't help you out with that one. At this moment, I seem to be getting along with everybody. And it could have also been the SPTV logo. I have taken the SPTV logo down for the reason I took that down is there are a lot of subject matters that I talk about here that I don't want to taint that, the movement. You follow me? SPTV talks about very specific things, right? And the last thing in the world I would want to do is damage that, right? And we're just keeping it real. There's a pretty good sized stigma attached to me, right? Aside from being a drug addict, right? I was my choice of occupation for the first 45 years of my life were all pretty unusual, and I, it being I don't want to do anything to damage the cause. You feel me? So that's the only reason that I stopped doing that. Trust and believe I will be I will be out there. Holding signs and flinging rocks and doing what I do. That's not going to stop, I assure you. I hate that organization as much today as I hated it yesterday. I might hate it more today than I did yesterday. Is there a song that goes like that? I hate it more today than yesterday. Amy, big hugs. Be safe. Question. Tommy, yesterday you said the music died with Leonard Skinner. Did you forget you still have Corey? You know something? I'm embarrassed. I really am. I think what the reference, because you're right. Corey Feldman is the man is he is rock and roll. I mean, let's be honest. He is rock and roll. But I was, that song, The Day the Music Died, great song. But it was a song written about the day that the plane crash that killed Buddy Holly, Richie Valens, and the Big Bopper. Right, the all three died in the one plane crash. Tough, right? Those were three huge stars, right, in the in American music, and to lose all of them in one day, that's what the song is about, right? With every paper he delivered, bad news on the doorstep. So I thought, in all honesty, I think that the tougher plane crash might have been Leonard Skinner. That's all I was saying. And but you're right. You're right. I mean, I think that that the genius of Corey Feldman's music is often overshadowed because of his stellar acting career. It's we don't always take him serious as a musician because of the incredible catalog of fine films the man has made. What did we say he came up with? 70 something?
More than that.
Yeah, he made a buttload of them. I'm not going to say how many because I already lost a bet on this once. And then I ended up eating an egg that was like kept in crap. And I don't know what it is. It was terrible. It was terrible. The music didn't die with Skinnerd. It may have died with Prince, though, says Rolling Stone. You know, when I'm feeling Prince still, I really am. The Skinnerd thing was weird because they were really starting to take off in a way in the US that I don't think we had seen. They had a cult kind of following that we had seen a lot European style, right? But we hadn't seen a lot from some boys from Florida. You know what I mean? Like that was kind of what was odd, and they were unashamedly. I mean, they sang about stuff that they were in the I don't care file in a pretty big way, you know. The needle, the spoon, the dirty hotel room. Like they wrote some pretty heavy lyrics. Whiskey bottles, brand new cars. Yeah, I was a fan. Prince hurt for me more so than Skinnerd because I wasn't obviously I wasn't alive to when was Skinnerd's plane crash? 73. I mean, I was alive, but I wasn't obviously I wasn't a big fan at 3. But I grew up with Prince. I mean, I really grew up with Prince. You know, I was in high school and Purple Rain was in the movie theaters. I remember the girl I took to see Purple Rain. That was a great date. It really was. It also rained that night. I was driving a truck. I remember that day like it was yesterday. It was a pretty good freaking day. It really was. And I'm not, you know what? It wasn't like that, by the way. I think I got a very chaste kiss on the cheek at the end of that date, but it was still a damn good date. You all seem to see me. Why do I still feel alone? Going to journal again this morning. After this live, it's a difficult thing when going through this this journey of self-discovery, right? You do realize, Lisa, and the 240 of you that are here, that there's a huge segment of society that has just come to grips with the fact that they're just going to forget about it. I'm not kidding, right? They're going to go through life and not touch any of the big ones. They're not going to touch any of the big ones. And by that, I mean, what are we doing here, right? What's the meaning of all of this? How about this interpersonal stuff, this connection stuff? Like all this really heavy kind of, stuff that requires some deep thinking. It is so much easier to drink 6 beers, right? I mean, is it not? It is so much easier to just smoke a bowl when you get home from work than try to work through some of the problems that really there's no reference book for. Don't BS yourself and think there is, right? Because I read all the ones that claim to be. Honestly, I read a bunch of books that will tell you how to get that brain to work for you. Proves that our brain is not on board. Because if our brain was on board, they wouldn't write 1,000, and I mean 1,000 friggin' books a year on how to get your brain under control, right? It ain't your friend. There'll be a book out today, right? A new one tomorrow on how to get your brain under control. I got news for you, right? My brain's not under control. It's not. But I've learned how to not let it run wild and destroy my life, right? I'm a sick individual, people. I am. Right? I am. I did this stuff for 3 decades, right? I did some irreparable damage. I did. Mentally, I did irreparable damage. There was things about me that wouldn't be the way they were before I started, right? That's reality. Not the end of the world, but that is the reality. But let me tell you something. I could go back. I could go back to being one of those people that doesn't care about the big issues, that doesn't care if there's a God, that doesn't care if my family has a real relationship with me, right? I can go back to that guy. Yeah. It'd take 3 days. No joke. The house, the cars, the watches, right? Everything. I could blow it all in 3 days. Now, might take 9 months, a year and a half for them to foreclose, right? Start coming around and getting, pissed off about payments, things like that. But it would take 3 days of putting that crap in my body before I was right back in business, needing that and putting it in front of God, family, and everything else. Right? That quick. So sometimes we feel alone in a crowd of people because you're working through things, Lisa, that are so uniquely yours that if I were sitting in the room with you holding your hands, you would feel alone. And they're the hardest things in the world. And guess what I'm going to say, right? Come as a real shocker. Journaling, when this is over, is going to be huge for you. And you have the easiest, right, prompt. Holy hell, you gave us your own prompt, right? Why is it? Why is it? I know I'm seen, right? Why is it that this is hurting me? Why am I not feeling whatever, insert there, connection, peace, whatever the case may be. Tommy, have you tried taking ginkgo for memory and stuff? It has so many properties to help brain and memory. Yeah, ginkgo biloba has been recommended to me along with a lot of other homeopathic stuff. My I have a very unusual situation. It's yeah, but yes, I the answers I have looked into it, and you know what, ginkgo has a really really good reputation. There's another one that's come out recently. Trying to remember the name of it, but it's showing a decent amount of promise in really helping people that are struggling with memory loss and things of that kind of thing. Randy Rhodes, yeah, Randy Rhodes plane crash. Good Lord, yeah, that was tough. That was tough. Rick Spicer says Corey Feldman, the Elvis of your generation. It might be bigger than that, and what I mean by that is, first of all, he's Michael Jackson now that Michael Jackson's gone. I mean, he tries so hard to be Michael Jackson that you gotta give him at least a, hey, holy crap, he looks like Michael Jackson, right? With his dancing, he may not be doing it good, but you're at least going to do the, oh yeah, that's definitely a Michael Jackson ripoff, right? So you've got that. And then, of course, you've got that excellent musical catalog. And with all due respect to the guy, I think Hollywood is one of the most crooked and disgusting places in the entire world. And I believe that everything he says happens in Hollywood. I do.
And nothing's sadder than a child star.
And you know what? And nothing is sadder than watching fame destroyed somebody, right? Especially a child. It's a horrific thing, right? The worst thing in the world you could do to somebody, you know? It's awful. It really is. But for God's sakes, man, if you throw a baseball across the plate coming so slow that I can read Rawlings on it, right? I'm going yard. I'm hitting that thing as far out of the park as I can. And Corey Feldman is a walking caricature of himself. If you said, here's what I want you to do, get down to Central Casting. We're making a movie about a guy who's got enough dough to bankroll a crappy band and pretend he's the Beatles. Like, this dude needs to walk out on stage and act like the world really does believe that he is the comeback king. And it is glorious. It really is. It is glorious. I'm sorry. Because that kind of, either we're being trolled, which makes this guy, I mean, a genius. This is Spinal Tap for 15 years, 20 years. It's genius. It really is. Think about it. How can you possibly, right, get any happier than to think that this man has been punking us for decades? But if by some chance that is not the case, then he really is just a marvel, an absolute marvel. Lisa, I want you to do me a favor. If it's not too hard, I want you to do me a favor. I want you to write yourself a letter. For real. This is an exercise that I do sometimes, journaling. I write myself a letter, and I'll pick a time frame. Normally for me, it falls somewhere between the ages of like 19 and like 13. And I warn myself, right, of pitfalls along the way. I warn myself to avoid things that are really going to have devastating effects on my life. It sounds like I'm just reliving some of the stupidest things that I've done, because obviously the stuff that put me in prison all pops up. Really weird crap happens when you do this, though. Really weird crap happens. Because as you start to walk through these things and you start going back and warning yourself, there's a cleansing that takes place. There really is. Let me tell you something, people. You cannot fix what you've done. You can't. But I can make you a freaking promise, right? You were not in your right mind, right? I was doing the boys down south call it Shiva, right? The black tar, right? Shiva, like the goddess of destruction. Right? It's a rugged drug. It has destroyed more lives, right? I'm not special. Why would it have been any different for me? I mean, you can look at what's going on with every drug in the world. You think you're freaking special? I got news for you. You're not. Right? You're not. The difference is, honestly, that you had enough foresight to go, this sucks. I can't keep doing this. Yeah. You had the foresight to say, I can't keep doing this. Right? This is now, I can't live life like this. I got to make a change. There are people you realize who just till the very end don't. Russ, I hope you're feeling better, bro. I know the day after a car wreck, the absolute worst. Or even like the first 2 days. Nashua, New Hampshire. I know it well. Jennifer Rice, you are so funny. I'm serious. That is a funny. You are the first person to ever say that out loud. That is funny as hell. 21 months. 21 months. That is impressive. Really. Calhoun, you've had your laugh, Calhounis. You may remove that. It's the truthfully, we find ourselves in a place, right, when sobriety sinks in. You ever heard of the pink cloud? The pink cloud is that glorious period of time when you no longer need a substance. You're done needing it, right? You're literally clean, right? That crap's out of your body. And for the first time in however long, right? Your brain chemistry is actually firing the way that it is supposed to, right? And you go, oh my God, I can do this. I can do this. Right? It sinks in that I can do this. I can live sober. Then guess what happens? A flat tire, your kid gets a DWI, your daughter tells you she's pregnant, right? Pick a tragedy. Right? Doesn't matter. Pick any of them. Doesn't matter. House fire, right? Death in the family. But now you got a very serious issue that you have to deal with. And you're going to have to do it without your best friend, right? Because your best friend's an ass who doesn't care about you. I got through my dad's death without heroin. And I want to tell you something. I came out on the other side of that beating the crap out of my chest. I'm not kidding. I was doing this number so much you cannot know, right? I did that. You understand? Right? That crap owned me for 3 decades, right? I couldn't get through a flat tire without heroin because the stress was more than I could take, right? I couldn't get through an argument with my wife or girlfriend without heroin because I was a weakling. I couldn't get through anything without heroin. And then my father died, right? And I couldn't even go see the funeral because I was in a halfway house, right? And I didn't get high, right? And I'm not joking when I say I was doing this one for days. I got through that, right? That was me. I did that. The pink cloud goes away fast. I promise. Goes away fast. Then you got to come up with a whole different method. I'm pretty fond of beating the crap out of my chest. I'm not going to lie to you, right? I am. I'm pretty fond of saying I did that. I'm pretty fond of being just a touch arrogant when it comes to my sobriety. You don't have to be. That's on you. For real. I got through the most rugged thing that is ever going to happen to me. Because I'm telling you, losing my dad was rugged. It was rugged. And you know what? I felt it. I felt every single bit of it. And it was the first thing in my life, right? Seriously, since the age of 13, it was the first thing in my life that I had ever felt. Every bit of. I had a conversation with my brother when we lost a family member that we were very, very close to. And it was a bummer, and people were doing the crying thing. And I'll be honest, I wasn't crying. And not because I didn't love the person who had passed, because I did, probably as much as anyone, really, for real. But, I was shooting half-gram shots, of heroin. And I mean, every couple hours, I was so friggin' sedated that I knew that it was a bummer, but heroin's got a way of just taking the edge off of all of that. You know what I mean? Off of all of that. But when my dad passed, there was nothing to take the edge off. Nothing. Now, when I went into that office and said, I'm leaving, I need to go, for my father's memorial. And my dad's memorial was not 2 days later. He had been cremated. We had plenty of time. And they did it that way intentionally. They gave me months to set it up. So there was no way that the feds could screw me out of being at my father's wake, where he had asked me to do the eulogy. How's that? But I had a long time to get everything lined up. And the probation officer just said no. He had the right to say yes. He didn't have to run it by anybody. He told me he did. But later on, I learned the truth. He just had to say yes and didn't. And I said, I'm walking out this mother effing door right now. F the feds. I am going to my father's deal. And on the way there, I'm getting a bag of dope. And I'm going to shoot it. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get wasted and I'm going to go to this. F these people. For real. I had my hand on the doorknob. I got through that. I got through that. I got through not just my dad dying, but these people effing me out of my last moment with him. And I got through that crap without heroin. So to those of you who are a little bummed out that I ate a couple of Valium and drank a few beers and shared that with you, guess what? God bless you. Say prayers for you. You're good people. Millie, you know what? Millie, I did not get a chance to thank Millie, and I am sorry. And it went by really quickly. Millie, there you go. Just to say I'm proud of every single one of us today. I love that. Everyone, no matter where you are in your journey, you're showing up. One show, one day at a time. Sending noodles of love, as always. For Q, thank you. Thank you. Joel, thank you so much, Millie. Joel says, I have a question, Tom. I have a close friend who's an alcoholic. I know the trauma that caused him to self-medicate, but I don't know how to help him through it. Any advice? Yeah, I've got some advice. You need to let your friend know that you love him or her. And you need to let them know that they have a problem. But you need to let them know that they have a problem without sounding even remotely, right? Like you are pitying them or that you are judging them, right? You're going to, if you do it correctly, you are going to talk to this person about their problem like, hey, your Mercedes, that rim on the front, it's got a dent in it that needs to be replaced. Seriously, that's dangerous, right? Wouldn't be a big deal, would it? That's the kind of conversation you have with people. Honestly, I do this every day, and it freaks people out because they're not used to it. They're used to pity, right? They're used to pity, or they're used to condemnation. And by the way, you know what pity is? It's condemnation wrapped up in a crappier package, right? It is. But if you can say to your friend, hey, I'll tell you something. You got a disease, right? If this disease was lupus, if this disease was cancer, right? Would you say, I'm not going down to the hospital yet? I might F with this in a couple of years, but I'm not going to do this right now, right? We'll let the tumor grow for a little bit. No big deal. All I got news for you, my friend. There is a tumor growing in you right now, right? It's alcoholism. It's a disease. It is a freaking disease, right? It's not that you're weak. It's not that you don't have willpower. It is none of those things. It's got nothing to do with it. It's got nothing to do with moral fiber. Nothing to do with any of that. It is a disease, right? True story. Now, on the bright side, we can treat this disease now, and we're getting better at it. And because of what your friend's drug of choice is, there are some cutting edge stuff out there, right? Honestly. The other thing, Joel, is addicts' biggest fear is that we're going to lose our best friend, and in the process, it is going to hurt physically. We fear the pain because an alcoholic who needs a drink goes through a pain you can't understand unless you've been that alcoholic. A heroin addict needs that next shot. You cannot imagine how badly he needs that next shot, or she does, unless you've been that person. There just is not any way to describe it, right? But if you treat your friend with zero judgment, right, and zero pity, they will listen to you, right? And as crazy as it is, every once in a while, there will be somebody that you could drag to a channel and show a clip where someone says, hey, this dude robbed a crap load of banks, because usually that's what gets people's attention about me, more than anything else. But there are people who go, oh, holy crap. You can say, yeah, this guy's a friend of mine. He'd like to talk to you. Give him 2 minutes on the phone. Seriously, you can tell him he's an ass and hang up on him. You won't bum him out. Give him 2 minutes. He just wants to talk to you. And I would be more than happy to talk to him. And I have had some success over the years getting people to the water. That's the best we can hope for, right? They're whether or not they drink, Joel, they will drink. Whether or not they drink the first time we lead them to the water, the second time we lead them to the water, or the 4,000th time we lead them to the water, we just keep doing it. Eventually, they will drink. One of the questions I get more than any other question is, how many chances do you give somebody before you stop? And my answer has always been as many as it takes. Right? These are human beings. Right? This isn't a car that you bought that's a lemon, right? It's not. It's a human being, right? And inside that human being is the best version of that human, right? Aspirations, dreams, cool stuff that's getting junked down by cocaine or heroin or whatever. Or in Oregon, $1 pills of fentanyl, right? Safe supply, right? $1 pills of fentanyl. I have said this so many times. If you put a needle exchange program on the corner, nobody has ever said, I'm gonna start doing dope because they're giving away free needles. But a guy that just smokes weed or gets drunk just might decide to try fentanyl at $1 a pill. And is it clean? Yeah, it is. That's what they're doing. They're putting a clean version on the street. And then what happens if that person moves, right? Or ends up somewhere where someone says, yeah, I didn't get any of those. I got a bag of pills, though. They're fent. You want one? I think they're making a mistake. I'm going on the record to say, I think they're making a mistake. I like the idea of a clean drug supply. I really do. $1 a pill fentanyl is a bad idea. It is a bad idea, right? Mental illness, killing people, mental illness, $1 a shot. God help us, people. God help us. We lose our way so badly. You understand? This is our country in a nutshell. It really is. It's our world in a nutshell. Knee-jerk reactions, right? It's not nice to throw homeless people out of an encampment. It's a horrible thing, right? It is. It's a horrible thing, right? So we should let them stay. That's the right thing. Bullshit. I'm sorry. It's not the right thing. It's not. Letting a person live in a homeless encampment isn't hooking them up. It's keeping them in place. I'm sorry. The homeless people are homeless for a couple of reasons, right? Mental illness is one of them. Drug addiction is another, right? So don't buy them a friggin' tent. Let's help them with their mental illness. Let's help them with their drug addiction. And don't tell me it can't be done, because I'll tell you something, I have seen it done. I am watching it done in beautiful facilities across the country that are getting their you-know-what together, right? If you went back 5 or 6 years and you went someplace where people who did not have a place to live, you would call it a homeless shelter, right? And you would call the people in there, I toured one in town and said, this is the most beautiful homeless shelter I have ever seen. And the guy said, please, this isn't a homeless shelter. I said, you're right. I apologize. And, by the end of the day, I said, I would love to see some of the, some of the homeless people that are living here, because he said, well, you've been talking to them all day. I had been interacting with people who I just assumed maybe worked there or whatever. He said, but we call them guests, which is a much better thing to call them, right? Because words mean things. But we can't do it. Yeah, we can. We can. We absolutely can fix it. You know that? We can fix it. The place I went to, bulletproof. The coolest program you have ever seen in your life. They get you from having no place to live, to hold your hand, to show you how to get vocational training, every aspect of it. Couple of years, right? Living under their roof, working through the program. And they bought the most beautiful hotel in the city to do this with. No joke. And one of my friends said, oh boy, they trash it. I said, no. Looks like a 5-star resort to this day. Say, how does that happen? Don't want to bum anybody out. You know how it happens? Huh? Rich folk. Yeah. Couple of rich people got sober, and then got rich and decided to do what they're doing. Right? They remember where they came from. And they don't have any government agencies telling them they got to do this, or this. They can go, you know what? Beat it. And with all due respect, government agencies come in and tell you, I'm sorry, you need to shut down because the urinal is 31 inches off the ground, and every urinal has to be 27 inches off the ground. Do you realize, seriously, how many times a day in this country something gets shut down because it is 2 inches off of a government? Guess what? The people who are doing it on their own, with their own money, they bought the most literally expensive hotel in the city. Okay? We're not talking about $5 million here, right? We're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars. I want the Celebrity Center. Hear me? I'm not playing. I want the Celebrity Center in Hollywood. I want the Celebrity Center in Hollywood. I want to turn it into a place where people without homes can become guests until they can find homes. That would be a hell of a use for that building. Don't you think? Huh? 60 minutes, no sips. Pizza and ginger ale instead. Antsy though, I'm only sober during this live. It's something at least. You know what it is, my friend? It's proof that you can start. It's harm reduction, right? We went an hour and 14 minutes today. You went a little bit longer, right? You made an hour and 14 minutes. If you make an hour and 15 minutes tomorrow, you know what that means, don't you? Huh? It means you can do it. It means you can do it. And there's also a drug out there that means you can do it without pain. I promise you. You get to that point, that window opens, and you really want that to happen, you send me an email, right? You send me an email and you put in that heading, right? I'm ready. I'm ready, right? I'm ready to quit today. Put that in that heading. Watch how fast we'll get back to you. I mean it. So you did 60 minutes? Okay. If tomorrow you can do 61, well, then it's just a matter of buckling down, isn't it? For real. Just a matter of working with us. And with all due respect, when people go, man, you don't know how hard it was. I did 7.5 grams of heroin a day, people. Right? Oh, I know how hard it is. I know how hard it is. I promise I do. I can't say that about a lot of things. I know how hard it is to kick. I've done it hundreds of times. It sucks. It sucks. I'm sorry, but you got any idea how bad I want to keep talking, knowing that I'm keeping you from no sips? For real. I'd like to do a 24-hour live feed for you, sunshine. I really would. I would like you to talk to a doctor, right? So that you could do a medical assisted treatment off of this stuff. There is a better version of you inside you right now wanting to get out. Do you know how I know that? Huh? Because I spent half of my life with this guy inside. And if you could have seen the guy that was on the outside, you wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be watching. I promise. If I can do a 180 the way that I did, then I promise you, you can. If I am the noise opera, my friend Nick can become the person that he is today from where he started. There's nobody on this planet that can't become whatever they want. You can do a 180. If you're unhappy with who you are today, stop being that person. Get out a piece of paper and write down what and who you want to be. Okay? I'm not lying ever again. So guess what? I came here and I told you that I relapsed. And if I relapse again, people, I'm going to tell you again. Right? Because my sobriety, with all due respect, is more important to me than anything on this planet. So I am going to not lie to people ever again. I started this channel to keep myself sober. Right? I did. I wanted to be accountable to people. I wanted people to see me every day. Right? If I go off the rails, you're going to know about it. Right? I'm filming every day. This is why I started this thing. Right? Honesty was the number one thing I put on my list. So for those of you who think I should have kept that to myself, you jackasses. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. In sobriety, lying is never, ever a good thing. You hear me? In anything, but in sobriety, no. Lying isn't a good thing ever. It isn't. It's permission to go back and be what you were. It's permission to go back and be what you were. So I made a mistake. And if you think me coming here gave permission for people to go make those mistakes, what you are is a troll. You've never had a drug problem. You're a jackass. But you've been fun. Yeah. And you've made an excellent opportunity to talk about some really important things. And that doesn't happen very often, right? So I want to thank you for being the jackwagon that you are. I mean it. And I want to tell you something. When you say, I'm just trying to not stip for 1 hour, people, if that sounds tough, I am not lying to you. When I was kicking heroin in prison, when I was trying to get sober, they would lock us down at 3:30. There was a lockdown, right before dinner where they counted everybody, but you had to be locked down at 3:30. And I would be looking at my digital watch, just trying to get to 3:30, just trying to get to that when they could lock that door. Because once that door was locked, right, there was no way I could get dope. It was impossible. The dope dealer was downstairs, right? So I couldn't even fish to him. I was upstairs. I'd be looking at that thing going, man, 2 minutes, man, 2 minutes. 2 minutes, man, 2 minutes. 2 minutes. I remember during Christmas times, right, in prison, where I was praying to God, God, get me through the next 60 seconds. Get me through the next 60 seconds, please. Get me through the next 60 seconds. I learned. At the time, I didn't know. I really didn't. There was a lot I needed to learn. But what I found out is that two thoughts can't occupy the same place at the same time. It's impossible. So I found that if I could start to put other thoughts there, instead of, oh my God, do I want to do heroin? Those thoughts went away, right? So I started concentrating on different things. One of them was to learn as much about this crap as I possibly could. And while I was thinking, learning about all of this stuff, my brain wasn't going, yeah, doing more of that's a good idea. Trust me, that didn't happen. Then I started this show, right? And I get to spend a lot of time talking to people who are also trying to make their life better, right? I have really changed, right? I'm pretty happy with who I am today, people. I am. And you know what? I'm pretty freaking proud that I admitted that I screwed up. So thank you to the 99.9% of you who realized that that was a difficult thing to come out and do, and who took the time to tell me that. I love y'all. I really do. You guys mean the world to me. I'm going to go and I got to get to church. Today is my Sunday. All right, everybody. My name is Captain Tommy. This right here, that is a beefy cat in a basket. She just keeps getting heavier. I'm telling you, lifting this basket used to be easy. It's not anymore. Spanky.
Getting fat, squirrel.
She is getting fat. She really is.
Hey, everyone.
And that is my son.
Thanks for hanging out with us this morning.
Yep. And we will see you later in the day. I promise. You have my word. Russ, please do hit me up later, bud, and let me know how you are, okay? Thoughts and prayers, please, for Steve Molesky. Thoughts and prayers for Steve Molesky. All right? Thanks. And we'll see you all in the next one. God bless.